What's up, everyone? Welcome to the latest All49ers Roundtable. I'm Grant Cohn, joined by the usual suspects, Nick Newman, Jack Hammer, Jose Sanchez, and the newest writer on All49ers, Suneil. How you doing, Suneil? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me, guys.
We got breaking news in a sense. It's kind of like a rumor. Michael Lombardi, who's been the king of rumors this offseason, God love Michael Lombardi, says now that what he's hearing is Kyle and John specifically. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch are split on which quarterback to take, which is just perfect news for the 49er fan base. We don't know if it's true. So buy or sell this report. Suneil, why don't you start us off?
Nice. I actually buy it. I think that even back when Garoppolo was traded, there was talks about, whether or not Shanahan and Lynch were on the same page there. So I believe that they have different views as far as what the quarterback they want. And I think that, a lot of times from what I've heard, or read, Lynch kind of gets the upper hand when it comes to those decisions. So I buy it. I think that they do have a different view. So I wouldn't be shocked if there are some rumblings there.
Jose,
1,000% buy it. And it's not a bad thing. It's fine if we get a little split. How I would see it probably would be maybe Lynch views. I don't know. Lynch likes Trey Lance and Shanahan likes Fields instead, or wherever way you want to put it. But I think I 1,000% agree that there's definitely a split. There's always going to be a split when there's two differing sides or two people, no matter what. They're not going to be on the same page. And like I've said before, when we talked about, hey, is it conducive? Is this bad? Is this like a toxic environment they're doing that? I 100% agree that there should be a nice little tuck and pull, especially on Shanahan's end. He needs someone that gives him that little nudge, that gives him that little alternate perspective, and that's something that could benefit them in the future, at least in this point.
Yeah, I agree with both Suneil and Jose on this one. I definitely think that there's something to that. And it's a good thing that they're split. You don't want these guys to be looking, it's good to have a different viewpoint and letting them get after each other a little bit and really have a debate amongst the group as to which player they think that they want to go with and which one's going to fit the best. And at the end of the day, hopefully they go ahead and let Shanahan have his guy so that, we can see what he can do with one finally.
Good answer by Zach Hammer. Okay, Nick, you're up. No, you're muted. There you go.
Good.
There you go.
That's for a reason. We don't want to hear him.
Rookie mistake.
There you go. There you go.
You only make a move of that magnitude if you have conviction between the head coach and GM that you have some sort of an agreement as far as which quarterback you're going to be drafting. So, sure, maybe there is a little bit of a split as far as each of their preferences, but the margin between how split they are, I don't personally believe it to be ginormous by any stretch of the imagination, because again, you don't make a trade unless you have a strong idea, both parties between head coach and general manager, as far as which route you want to go at the quarterback position, because this is a huge decision. So I don't think there's this huge crazy disconnect between Lynch and Shanahan and their views of who's going to be the next franchise quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But like Jose touched on, it's good to have guys who think differently in charge. I do think it makes you stronger when you have people that have different viewpoints, so you have more diversity in the way that you're saying things.
That's a really good point, Nick. I think that's very realistic. The only way I think that you could have this type of difference of opinion is if the owner is involved. If the owner said, guys, you got to make a move at quarterback this year. I'm tired of Jimmy Garoppolo. You got to do something. If Jed kind of created an ultimatum and put these guys in a position where they had to move 3 first-round picks for not Trevor Lawrence, not Deshaun Watson, but a rookie, that could be a tough situation where there'd be a difference of opinion. I sort of buy it. It was interesting. I felt like John Lynch made a point to bring up Jed York in the press conference. I was like, Jed York's been around a lot because of the pandemic. He's been really involved in decisions, and he's, been really generous and allowed us to do this and that. It almost feels like he was saying, hey, Jed wanted to do this too. Maybe Jed wanted to do this. So if Jed pushed him in this direction, I'd buy it. Let's assume it's true. Which quarterback do you think Kyle Shanahan is leaning toward? Nick, you start.
Rookie. Come on, man. We got Nails the rookie, and he's already more veteran than you. What's going on?
I get so it's my work environment. We have to mute ourselves if we're not the one talking. So, anyway,
That's why we have Tony Reali Cohn.
Yeah. which quarterback does Kyle Shanahan want? I do believe he wants Justin Fields, and it doesn't really have to do with the QB collective, which is something we're going to talk about later on. But I think Fields is Shanahan's ideal fit at quarterback, and this is what we're going to have to keep going through for the next month. Who does Kyle Shanahan want? At this point in time, I do think it's Fields. That's my answer.
I think the guy that Shanahan wants is actually Zach Wilson. I think that's the guy that he's looking for. He mentioned that in his press conference. He kind of let that slip, I think. So that's the direction I think he's looking.
Fair, real quick, but let's say that's plan A, and let's say Zach Wilson goes to the Jets. No one knows what the Jets are going to do. They're a mystery. Then what becomes plan B for the Niners? I'm not going to let you out of it that easy.
If it's no, that's fine. If it's not Zach Wilson, then it's I would prefer them go after Trey Lance, but I'm going to go the easy route with Fields.
Okay, that's who you think Kyle. That's who you think Kyle wants. What do you think, Jose?
Yeah, I think it's probably Fields as well. It'd be Fields. Maybe you could probably skew it towards Lance a little bit, like how Jack said, how he mentioned it slipped with Wilson. I think he also mentioned about in the same context, like, oh, I wish he had more tape, because I think he does like him as a prospect. He's like, dang, if he just played the season, we probably would be taking him. But because Fields seems like, in a way, when people say Mac Jones like a safe pick, I think Fields in a little bit is also a safe pick because he knows he's as familiar with him. I know we're foreshadowing the quarterback collective here, but at least here, this guy, he's a blue chip quarterback. He got that mentality right. He's got the talent there, the physical tools you want to mess with. So I think it's definitely he's definitely thinking about Fields for sure. And if not, you got Lance as like a plan C, if we're saying here.
Yeah, I guess it's on me. I also agree with everybody thinking that it's Fields. But I think if there is any kind of debate, I think it has to do with maybe one wanting a quarterback to start day one, and one maybe wanting to keep Jimmy around for another year and having somebody like sit for a year. And so that's why I think it'd be Fields over Lance. Maybe Lynch is more looking at long-term, bring in Lance and actually have him sit. And I think Shanahan's ready to get rid of Jimmy and want somebody that could come in and he could start, adding to the offense day one.
Oh, whoops. Hold on. My bad. That was rookie move too. And I moved everyone around. Hold on. You were there. You were there. Wait a second. No, I can't move. And then you were, because I don't like this now. And then you were. All right. Okay, now we're better.
He's nervous.
I disagree with all of you guys. I'm so surprised you didn't say. I think it's clear as freaking day that if Zach Wilson isn't on the board, that Kyle wants Mac Jones. No one else sees that. I mean, he was there at Mac Jones's pro day. The look on his face when Mac Jones was missing those throws, he was like, man, I'm going to hear it from Lynch. I'm going to hear it from Lynch. I get the feeling that he loves Mac Jones, that he looks at Mac Jones and says, man, if Jimmy could just do this, we would have won that Super Bowl. Like, this is all I need. I really think Kyle is the one in the organization, if there is a split, saying, no, Mac Jones is the guy. I mean, his best friend is saying it. Matt Mayoko is saying it, who's real close with Kyle Shanahan. Everyone who's close with Kyle Shanahan is saying, hey, don't be surprised if it's Mac Jones. I think that's kind of the obnoxious, smart guy in the room. Kyle Shanahan moved to be like, no, everyone else is wrong. The pick is Mac Jones. I think holds the minority opinion there. But maybe
or they're just trying to help him out.
Yeah.
Let's look at it the other way, though. If they're split, who does John Lynch want? And you can't say the same person that you said the first time because they're split. We're split. Remember,
Justin Fields
with Mac Jones. Where I'm at with him is I don't think you can trade everything the 49ers trade to move up to 3-4 Mac Jones. I just lost my train of thought here a little bit. Great.
The question, Nick, is who do you think Lynch wants?
No, I know. I know.
Okay.
I was trying to come back to Mac Jones.
I feel you.
But I literally lost what I was going to say. Who do I think John Lynch wants? I haven't spent much time thinking who John Lynch wants because I'm unfamiliar with the report that came out from Lombardi earlier. So that's a little bit new to me. Yeah. And I can't say Justin.
You can pass.
Yeah, I'll pass right now.
That's fine. Jack, you got any thoughts?
Shoot, I'm gonna go. Let's go with Mac Jones for John Lynch. I don't there's
fair enough.
There's just something about him that I think that he might like. Just with his whole Stanford background and that kind of stuff, you can see Jones kind of fitting in that system.
Okay.
Took the words out of my mouth. I think it's Mac Jones. I think it's the reverse. I don't think it's Kyle. I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan doesn't like Mac Jones. I think he would like him if they were at 12, but at 3, I don't think so. I think Lynch would be like, I kind of like this Mac Jones kids, man. You know, got the intellect, and like Jack's nailed it right on the hammer. That Stanford structure, the same way kind of Alabama does. And it's like, hey, we had Garoppolo. We have a more improved version here with Mac Jones. Why don't we just plug and play and just carry on, baby? So I think John Lynch is the one who's probably leading the torch there for Mac Jones.
What do you think, Suneil?
Yeah, I think it's Trey Lance, and I think once again, I think that Lynch has always been higher on Jimmy G than Shanahan, and I think Lynch was the one that kind of put out there that we're gonna keep Jimmy G there for a year, and I think Shanahan was probably talking to Belichick at the pro day, saying like, "Yo, what do you need? What do we need to do to get Jimmy G over there to you?" And I think that maybe Lynch wants that. Put a quarterback, sit there for a year behind Jimmy G, see how we play out this year, and then kind of start him the next season. And I think Shanahan's ready to go with the starter day one.
Interesting. To me, I think Lynch would be team Justin Fields, because Justin Fields to me is the consensus pick. He was the number 2 pick in the draft before the season started. I mean, he's been projected for a long time. To come in at the end and say, no, Mac Jones is better is to try to outsmart everyone. And that's a Kyle move. That's Kyle in a nutshell. Lynch is the guy who it's a Trent Baalke move. I know better than everyone. Mac Jones is better than everyone, and I see it. John Lynch isn't a scout. He's the guy who's like, hey, let's be sensible about it. The collective wisdom of the football world said Justin Fields is better than Mac Jones. That's the way I see it. I think he would be team Justin Fields, and Shanahan would be team Mac Jones, and I think Shanahan wins out. And what Jarvis is saying is Dan Patrick said 2 teams that also need quarterbacks told him they believe Mac Jones to the 49ers is a done deal. Yikes. Hard to say. Hearing a lot of rumors these days, but thanks for speculating with me. I took you guys down some weird roads. We have no idea if Michael Lombardi even knows what he's talking about. So let's move on. How much weight should we put into the Shanahan-Fields ties through the quarterback collective? If you don't know what I mean, there's a thing called the quarterback collective, which is like a quarterback development academy that Shanahan funds and is like a guest worker at sometimes. In 2017, he was there. Fields was there. Pictures were taken. And now people think there's a connection, and they know each other. How much weight do you put into that connection? I don't know who wants to go first.
I can start off on this one. So it's definitely interesting that Shanahan and Justin Fields have ties going back to the QB Collective, and it's every time the QB Collective Twitter account posts something of Justin Fields, 49ers Twitter is just like, oh, there it is. How much more do they have to say? It's going to be Justin Fields. And the way that I look at it, it's a marketing tactic, right? They're trying to build their brand, the QB Collective, and Justin Fields is the biggest quarterback prospect to ever go through their camp. He's going to be a top 5 draft pick in the NFL. So why wouldn't you showcase Justin Fields on your Twitter feed, on your Instagram, on your website as much as possible, because you're trying to create your brand, create your business. So I don't think the QB Collective means everything, and I don't think all these videos that are being posted are from Kyle Shanahan's agent trying to get the word out that the 49ers are going to draft Justin Fields. And I'm going to kind of contradict myself when I said earlier about Kyle Shanahan wanting Justin Fields. I don't get why he would try to build even more hype around him, using the QB Collective as a tool to kind of boost Justin Fields' draft stock even more, because you have to remember the 49ers have the 3rd overall pick. If they really love Justin Fields, I don't see why the QB Collective would be pumping up his draft stock when the team could just jump ahead of them at number 2 and then take him there. So that's why I think are they trying to boost Justin Fields' draft stock so Zach Wilson falls to 3? I think that's possible. This whole thing is fascinating to me, but I don't put a whole lot of weight into the QB Collective ties between Justin Fields and Kyle Shanahan, but it's definitely interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Nick on this one. I mean, who else has gone through the QB Collective that they could really be pumping up?
Right.
They've got a guy that went through there that's going to go in the top 10 of the draft somewhere. That's the guy you're going to be showcasing. That you're not going to just showcase, hey, here's Niner Nick Newman at QB Collective. Everybody's going to, who cares about that guy or myself, whatever.
Thank you.
So Zach is
that's rude.
They'd be like, who's Zach Hammer anyway? But
it's
it's true. Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, you've been waiting to take that shot at Nick, haven't you, Jack? But no, I think there's something there. I'm agreeing with Nick in terms of like it's definitely quarterback collective trying to pump up their own stock. I've been seeing that for weeks now. I'm like, I don't think like it's anything like necessarily like strong ties. I mean, I think there's something there for sure to be said. Like, hey, Shanahan knows this guy a little bit, and there's already a little bit of those seeds for him to have that intrigue. But I mean, in terms of like what Nick said, it's like, is it just to bring Zach Wilson down? Like, what are they doing? And I mean, Nick's wearing the Giants jersey, so of course it's all a game of baseball at this point. You got to keep everyone on their toes. You don't know what kind of pitch they're delivering. Like Mac Jones, that's exactly what they want to do. It's a lot of trickery. I mean, no one knew what the 49ers were doing the last 7 weeks in terms of trading up. So just keeping all that bottled up, secrecy, keeping everyone on their toes. That's smart business because in the future, at least that way, if it's in next year, if they want to get back into the first round, whatever they want to do in terms of personnel, no one's going to know what they're thinking, what they're doing. And then you also have the same thing with trying to do with Garoppolo instead of trading him, just keeping everyone on the toes and keeping them guessing.
Yeah, I got to agree with the guys that this is just a total marketing scheme. I mean, who was talking about QB collective until, these stories were coming out? So definitely they're probably going to get more quarterbacks coming in through the system now, especially with Justin Fields, being drafted as high as he is. And even if there was something to it, I really doubt, Shanahan is learning much from, spending time with the kid in high school as far as like why he's going to pick him, with the third pick in the draft. Like it'd be too far of a stretch as far as like, he wowed him when he was 17 and now like he's gonna pick him in the like it just doesn't it's too much of a Cinderella story for it to be like that's Shanahan.
I do see that Shanahan has a history like re-signing and working with people he knows. He seems to really want to work with people he knows. But how well does he know a kid who was 17 that he worked with for a week that one time? Like, was he just kicking it with the 17-year-old after? Like, why would you do? I don't think so. I mean, how well does he really know Justin Fields? Kind of weird. So I would think probably that has 1% to do with it. He may like kind of feel like he has a feel for Justin Fields, but really that was a long time ago. And he's looking for such specific things from his quarterback. I don't think that has much sway. I do think it's a marketing scheme. And right, like you said, like who else would they put out there? And why wouldn't they? I mean, if I had a quarterback academy and Justin freaking Fields went there and I thought he was going to be trashed, I wouldn't say that. I would just put him out there and be like, he came to my place. I made him good. He's going to be good. End of story.
Yeah. It's like when a liquor store, you get the lotto. It's like, hey, someone won the lotto here. Hey, guys. Hey, one. There's a chance for you to win. Come on down. Come get your 40 with the lottery ticket.
Has your opinion of any quarterback changed because of a pro day? There's been a lot of pro day talk this year because no combine. And people are really getting nitpicked. Like you think I nitpick the Niners after their games with my grades? There's been like some serious pro day grading going on. Have you guys been doing such things? And have your opinions changed? Suneil, why don't you start?
Okay. No, absolutely not. I feel like pro days remind me of when the All-Star game had skill challenges for quarterbacks. Like it was just I don't know, anybody who won the skill competition didn't automatically make me feel like that's the quarterback I want, next season, or we should trade for him. I just think it's set up to have the best looks, the best views, the best highlights for the player. And, at that point, I think it's just all window dressing just to keep the NFL in the public sphere for, an extra couple weeks before the draft.
I don't really pay attention to pro days much. I like to look back at them and be like, all right, let's see, because I don't want to be swayed by what people were saying at the time. Like, oh, look at this throw, look at this throw. I was like, I mean, that's great versus air. I mean, I look good against air, but if you put someone else in front of me, I'm not going to be the same. Like, come on, man. I don't pay too much stock in that. I think it's more just like it's just PR. It's almost how I see pro days, the same way as I see press conferences. There's a standard. It's like it's all window dressing. There's a way just to keep it like streamlined, but there's also a way you can make it look worse. So it's kind of like, you can't get much good from it, but you can kind of like make it look a little bad. So I mean, to me personally, I never gave one stock either one way or the other. I'm just always like the same. Like I mean, we already know. Like it's just more so just to be like, hey, look at this guy, look at this. So I mean, I think it's just more just a little fan booster, if anything. And then I guess the teams go there just to understand the coaches and the players. It's more about the person at that point than actually seeing the skills, the talent, and all that.
Yeah, Jose, that last point that Jose made is kind of where I was going to go. I think that's really the only value that the pro days really have for these guys is to be able to get that time with them when they're not on the field, after get that face time with them and really build it up. Because, you look and see what for, Mac Jones, for example, people are talking about his pro day. Well, shoot, the guy hit the roof on the first throw. And part of you got to remember, too, with Mac Jones, he puts a lot of air under the ball when he throws those deep balls. So I'm going to go with what Louis Riddick said after the game. He's going to say, after that pro day, he's like, turn on the tape. Watch how many times does he actually overthrow a receiver on the field in a game? So I think what happened, he hit the roof on the first throw. I'm making an excuse for him. He hits the roof on the first throw, and then he kind of has to not try to throw it a little bit more flat than he normally does, and that's why he's overthrowing it. That's an excuse, but I think that's kind of maybe what happened there.
Yeah, I agree, especially with Jose said on his last point is you have just for most players, I know it's we're in a funky time right now because of the pandemic and not having a full season, but a lot of these guys that are getting drafted, they have years of film that you can go back and watch, whereas what they do on their pro day on the field doesn't really matter. But what I look at most is the mannerisms and kind of how the quarterback conducts themselves, all players, how they conduct themselves. And that's something I found interesting about watching Mac Jones's pro days, even though he didn't have a great pro day on the field. I liked watching how he was just constantly in an upbeat mood. He was smiling, and his teammates were really gravitating towards him. And, when their helmets aren't on, you kind of see a different side of the players. They're easier to kind of tell their body language. They're easier to read. And I liked what I saw from Mac Jones as a leader, just from bringing in the huddle, the way he was kind of conducting himself. So I like seeing that stuff way more than the actual just throwing the football when you've been doing that for several seasons in an actual game setting. Like, I don't feel like one bad day or one bad pro day should take away from your game film, because that's what's most important.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like a quarterback totally falls in his face or like shows up drunk or like can't, like that would be bad. But no one did that. I mean, some people really were hard on Mac Jones, but he missed some. Everyone missed some throws. I mean, I think basically any college quarterback can put on a show in a pro day. If you give him a month to train and practice, any college quarterback can look good. Jimmy Garoppolo could look great. Nick Mullins would look good. C.J. Beathard would look great in a pro day. But that doesn't really correlate to success in the NFL. I think what correlates to success is which of these quarterbacks know where to go with the ball when they're under pressure and can get it there. If they can do that in the NFL, they're going to be pretty good, even if they are deficient in other areas or they can't throw the ball 70 yards from their knees. That doesn't matter. If you can beat pressure in the NFL, you're going to be pretty good. And there's nothing about a pro day that reveals whether or not a quarterback can do that. You actually have to watch live action. So I guess it's useful in certain things, but it's not going to change my opinion of Justin Fields. I knew he could do that. And I knew Zach could do that. I knew Kellen Mond could do that. There's other questions. So no. But the day that a guy shows up drunk to a pro day, I will say, yes, I have changed my mind.
And I bet something that intrigued the 49ers and other coaches about getting to know Mac Jones is about how like Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith have like instantly said when they've been asked, hey, who was better, Tua or Mac Jones? All of them without hesitation. Oh, Mac Jones. Easy. So I was like, Mac, huh? So let's get to know this guy.
Should Jimmy Garoppolo, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Jimmy G, who may not be history. I mean, who knows? They're saying they want to keep him. They want him to compete, yada, yada, yada. Let's look at it from his perspective. Should he ask for a trade, assuming he hasn't already privately?
Am I starting with this one? I guess. Okay, should Jimmy Garoppolo ask for – if I were Jimmy Garoppolo personally, I would ask for a trade, but that's the kind of person that I am. And the way that I see Jimmy Garoppolo is he's just so cool, calm, and collected where he's not really a demanding person. I just don't really see him in that way. He has a lot to be upset about. He suffered the ACL tear trying to fight for extra yardage. That's how he got hurt in 2018. And we all saw how someone awkwardly landed on him in the Jets game, and he tried to come back, and it didn't work out. So – it's not like the injuries he suffered over the last couple of years, like Deebo Samuel, where it's his hamstrings constantly getting tight. He had severe injuries, and that's how I see it. So he has a lot to be upset about. And if he demanded a trade, I definitely would see where he's coming from. I don't know how anybody would be able to be like, what's he demanding a trade for? I think most people would see his reasoning for demanding a trade. But will he actually do it? I don't think so. I really don't think he will. I think he's going to be on the 49ers roster week 1 unless they get that first-round pick for him, which we'll get into soon.
Yeah, he should definitely ask for a trade. He should be demanding a trade if at all possible, because that's the only way he's going to keep his pay like he's making now. I don't think he's going to go somewhere else and make that kind of money. And who wants to stay somewhere where they're not really wanted? Who wants to stay somewhere where they know they're a short timer and have to deal with that, especially with this situation? He's gone after this year, really. So why would he want to stick around? So if I was Garoppolo, I definitely would ask for a trade. And then who knows? Maybe he did, because it didn't sound like he was happy when they gave him news of this thing going down.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to speculate a little bit here. I think Lynch and Shanahan already told him, like, look, we're gonna try to trade you ideally at first, coming draft day, because that would be the time to maybe maximize his value, even though he doesn't really have much to begin with. And then if he can't get traded after the draft, then I think at that point, come mid-May, late May, that's when he needs to start demanding. And I think, like Nick's right, I don't think it's him to actually demand it. I think he's going to tell Don Yee, like, you tell him I want to demand a trade. He wouldn't personally himself come out that way. But considering the offseason where quarterbacks are being very vocal, I think he'd be like, screw it, I'm going to follow the trend. So I think that'd be one thing, that's something that they want to put forth. And I'm pretty sure they're telling him, look, you're probably going to be here or not. We just want to see if we can get from the Patriots or any other team on draft day, because I think that he is going to get he's going to get traded on either like day 2 or day 3, whichever one you want to pencil him in for. So I think he's not going to ask for one yet, but I could definitely see, like, if it doesn't get done by then, that he's going to be like, all right, I got to get out of here, man. This is not worth it at this point.
Yeah, everybody makes really good points. I think Jimmy G's team around him is terrible, because they have let his stock just drop year after year and let the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan and Lynch just berate him without any pushback. And, it's funny because you see in this specific offseason, the minute Carson Wentz saw his stock start dropping, he demanded a trade and got out of there. We're seeing that in Seattle with Russell Wilson. He's feeling like his stock's starting to drop as far as where he's going to finish off with his legacy. And his team has come out and started putting those trade rumors out. That hasn't happened with Jimmy G. And for the last couple of years, Jimmy G's stock, the 49ers have flirted with more quarterbacks than any team in the league. And Jimmy G just stood there as the X that's just, or like the future X that's just like, well, maybe they're going to love me. Maybe they're going to love me. And he should have demanded a trade when they were trying to get after Tom Brady. That's when he should be like, look, if you guys don't want me here, this is where my stock's the highest. I think now it's too little too late. Even if he demands a trade, it's not going to change who's going to want him. It's not going to make teams now go, oh, now he wants to trade. No, if they're going to trade for him, they're going to trade for him. I think it's well known that the 49ers are willing to trade. I think everything else is just a smokescreen. So why he might as well just sit in the corner like he's been sitting and just wait it out.
The difference between Wentz and Garoppolo is the Eagles really benched Wentz. They benched him. And the Niners are still playing this game where, like, no, he's still our starter. No, the kid's going to have to compete. We want Jimmy to play this year because Jimmy's the vet. I feel like the Niners are being very careful here, and they're putting Jimmy in a tough position. Would he like to request a trade? I'm sure he would love to request a trade. Would it look good for him to request a trade? This is a dude who's played 30 games for the Niners and pocketed $90 million. Now, he wanted to play more. He just couldn't. The Niners stuck by him, gave him a lot of checks. And for him to be like, now I want to trade, people might look at him and be like, who are you to request? You're not Deshaun Watson. You're just a dude who got paid a lot of money and missed a lot of time. And you know what? Maybe you should go out there and compete. And you know what? If you're as good as you think you are, Jimmy, beat him, man. You're going up against who? Mac Jones? Is Mac Jones that much physically better than you, Jimmy? No. Mac Jones is just mentally better than you. I don't know. I think it's a bad look. I think he would love to request a trade, would want to request a trade, would benefit from a trade, but I think he needs to be quiet and show up to camp and compete. And if he loses, then they'll trade him. But what do they get from him at that point? Go out and win the competition. That would be a good move for him. I think that's a better move than leaving.
That's why post-draft, I think that's why he tries to demand it. And at that point, if he didn't get traded at the draft day, that means his stock is really low. And it's like, if he demands it, then the 49ers essentially kind of have to. What are you going to do? You're going to keep the quarterback that demands a trade next to your rookie? That's not, you don't really want that locker room environment with this guy who's saying that. So at that point, it's like you have to ship him off. So I think it's a guarantee if he does demand a trade, like in May after the draft, he's not, then I think he's pretty much gone.
All right, let's stick with Jimmy. Will the Niners really hold out for a first rounder in exchange for Garoppolo? That's the report that they want a first, and that's what they're going to wait for. Do you buy that?
Suneil.
Anyone can start.
Oh, you want to start with me?
Yeah, sure.
I think that's where I think that's what they'd like, but I don't think that's what they're gonna. I think they're gonna settle for less. If you're in negotiating, you got to set the bar high, and then that way you could, if they said, oh, we'll take a third round, then they're gonna get a fourth. If they're shooting for a first, maybe they'll get a second, conditional first, something like that. But I think. And I think in a further topic, I'll probably talk about it a little bit more, but I really think that they have to get rid of Jimmy for a multitude of reasons. And I think that they're going to take something within like second, third round pick, couple of thirds, something like that. But they're putting the right message out there that, hey, we need a first.
Yeah, of course they would like a first rounder. Everyone would like a first rounder for anyone they can get. But in this case, I see no way in heck that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to garner a first or even a second. I think if you can get a third, best case scenario, even a fourth, that's a win for the 49ers in a way, especially since you're going to have your franchise quarterback on board. What's Garoppolo going to do? And even if you keep him, say if they do keep him this year and he tries to boost his stock to get traded in the offseason, what are the odds he's actually going to be healthy to do that? I mean, Come on. He gets injured again. Now it's like, great. You thought his stock was bad before? You're going to have to cut him after next year. So that's why I think right now there's no better time because fourth round kind of seems like fair, maybe even fifth. I feel like fifth is going to be the best they can get for him. I mean, third, fourth would be great, but I think fifth is going to be something like New England's probably trying to push for. Like, hey, how about a fifth and then a conditional? That's something that's going to be for Garoppolo. It's going to have to be a conditional pick because of his starts because they already know he's not healthy. So in New England's case, if they did say, they made that the start or the trade, they could do that because they have Cam there. So I think the 49ers are going to really try to. That's why they keep saying, "Hey, he's our starter." AKA New England, boost that trade value up because we're not letting them go for more than a first or a second.
Yeah, I think that they should be definitely going after maybe not a first rounder, but maybe a second round, like a deal like what the Eagles did with Wentz, where they take a second that can be bumped up to a first. Because I think the 49er folks out here are really downplaying what Garoppolo's worth is. He's easily worth as much as Carson Wentz. If you look at Wentz's best season in 2017 compared to Jimmy Garoppolo's best season in 2019, the numbers are almost the same. They really are. You can say what you want as far as the missed throws and everything like that, but his yards per game is only about 5 yards less per game than Wentz put up, and his touchdowns are right there as well. So, I think, and he went to the Super Bowl. He didn't get hurt that year. He went all the way to the Super Bowl. So he's played the full year and actually been successful when he did it. So I would say probably a second that can be bumped up to a first is what they're really shooting for.
Yeah, and if that's what they're looking for, they're probably going to have to get picks in 2022, I would imagine, right? Because the condition will be on what he did next year in the season. So you wouldn't necessarily have to make the trade now. It could be you could make the trade in training camp or during the season.
You're going to want to make that trade for him at some point. I think you're going to want to make it sooner than later. But you're going to make that trade for 2022 because you're already set right now, and you don't have that first round pick. So that's where the Garoppolo pick. Why that whole trade isn't a big deal if they can get that second or first round for Garoppolo in 2022.
So this is what I'm thinking is you should set the bar at a first round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't understand the urgency to move on from him right now. And if you do trade Jimmy Garoppolo, what it says to me personally is that the 49ers are set on not making the Super Bowl this year, regardless of who the rookie is that's coming in. It's never been done before. A rookie has never led their team to the Super Bowl, let alone won it. And with Jimmy Garoppolo on the team, you have a higher, more favorable odds of getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. If you look at cap space right now, you have $20 million. What does moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo do to you right now? Does that make you a better football team or a worse football team in 2021? It makes you a worse football team. It does. How can cutting a veteran quarterback that's been in the system going on, 5 years now, this is going to be his fifth season? It's better for him to stick around. And financially, it makes no sense. You have money right now to extend Fred Warner. You can extend Fred Warner right now with the $20 million that you have. If you cut or trade him and you clear that $23 million, what do you need that money for right now? So that's why I think you try to get that first round pick because that'll be worth it, even if it's in 2022. But if not, it's a good problem to have two competent quarterbacks, especially after seeing what happened last year. If the 49ers had better quarterback play, a better QB2, they'd be in the playoffs. And you're trying to get into the postseason and keeping Jimmy Garoppolo around. What if this rookie comes in? We're also kind of assuming that this rookie is going to be the star of the show from day one. What if he's not? What if from day one of camp, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are like, this is going to take a little bit longer than we thought. Then you still have Jimmy Garoppolo right there who led you to a 13-3 season, helped you get to the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago. So Jimmy Garoppolo's value on the 49ers is higher than getting a day 3 pick for him. That would be a terrible trade, and I would roast the 49ers front office for a trade like that because the quarterback issues last year, why would you not want to have as many competent quarterbacks on the team, keep the Super Bowl dream alive for this immediate upcoming season? I just don't see what their urgency is to get rid of him. So, yes, get the value that you feel he's worth.
So you slow down the rookie's development and cost control just to start Jimmy injured Garoppolo? That's not wise right there.
Well, the cost
for a year,
that's a waste of a year. That's a waste of a year.
You can look at it as a waste for. Let's just say Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, which the odds of that.
Guys, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's the next topic. Hold on. Let me get my word in, and then we'll move on to this topic. That's the next topic. We're gonna get there. Hold on.
It's not your show, Grant.
Hold on. In terms of them holding out for a first round pick, I'm with Jack here. The best they can do is a conditional pick. If they hold out for like a first round pick, what Jimmy would have to do would be play 16 games, go back to he'd have to play better than he played in 2019. He'd have to basically win the Super Bowl. And in that case, why would you trade him? Like, remember when the Chiefs had Alex Smith and they drafted Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith led the league in passer rating? They got a second and they got 2 conditional. They get a 2 and a conditional 1. They didn't just get an outright first round pick. They got conditional picks that could move up. So I don't think there's much Jimmy can do. If that's what they want, they're going to end up just cutting him. They're going to have to settle for a conditional that can move up. That's what they have to say. Okay, but now let's get to the thing that everyone wants to talk about. Is it wise to sit the rookie and let Garoppolo start? Nick, you already basically answered this question.
Well,
but if you want to do it again, hold on. Let's let Suneil hit it first, and then we'll come back around.
Let's do it.
Suneil, you hit this first, just like
So I do not think it's wise, and I think the people that agree with me, I'll touch on other points. This is why I don't think it's wise. Next year's team is not set. There's a lot of free agents that are going out. So for the 49ers to be able to attract free agents with the quarterback controversy, if even the best case scenario, Jimmy G plays great and they make the playoffs and nobody's ever seen this rookie quarterback play, I think it'll be a harder sell than if they let the rookie quarterback play and he balls out or they show some promise that, free agents will be willing to come or our free agents will be willing to stay. And I think that if you're having like that quarterback scenario up in the air where we haven't seen this rookie play, nobody knows if he's going to be good or not or whatnot, that's just going to set, the 49ers offseason even harder as well. So I think that they have to play the rookie. We have to see what he is. And the second point is because there are going to be quarterbacks available next season as well. I know it sounds bad to like draft one with 3, move up and all this kind of stuff, but if Aaron Rodgers is available and this rookie quarterback isn't, what we want it to be, I could see, the 49ers trying to go all in for a team that Aaron Rodgers would probably want to play for.
All right, I don't know about Aaron Rodgers, but I mean that wouldn't be bad. Hey, that's a nice hypothetical to talk about. But yeah, like I was saying, I think it would be a terrible idea because you're going to waste 1 year of your cost control rookie and slow down. You're going to pretty much throw the little spike strips that police throw on this high-speed chase. You're going to purposely do that to your rookie to sit him, and developing a quarterback who's sitting is not the same as when you roll him out there. Plus, you gave up all that capital just to sit him. What? Why would you do that? No, there's more pressure to start them. That's it's to start giving your third and the future. You pretty much risk the future to a degree. And at least Garoppolo, it's like great. You start Garoppolo out there, and like you said, Grant, with your previous point, what they got with Smith, but Smith didn't have injury-prone problems. The odds are, which likely are going to be, Garoppolo's going to get injured again. And I was like, great. So what do you do now? Is it going to be a 2011 or a 2012 49ers where he got injured, Smith or a.k.a. Garoppolo stay on the bench, Kaepernick, a.k.a. rookie, you take us forward? Is that the way we're going to do it again? I mean, just start from the get-go. And so Nick's right. I don't think that Super Bowl is going to be attainable with the rookie, but I just think that's more behooves you to set you up for long-term, the future-wise. Lock up Fred Warner. You get ready for Nick Bosa. Any more free agencies you want to get, because the 49ers, especially when it comes to cornerback in the future, because how many one-year deal cornerbacks do they have right now? It's pretty much everyone. So, and they like to go free agency for the secondary or at least cornerbacks. So set up that salary cap in the future. Keep that rookie quarterback developing, and he's probably not going to be a stud. I don't expect him to be a stud. There's no Andrew Luck prospects out there. Even if you get Fields or Wilson, they're going to flash. They're going to do bad, but that's why Shanahan gets paid the big bucks. As Rich Gangarello gets paid all that money. Coach him up and develop him. So don't be the reason. Don't be personally the reason why your rookie quarterback gets those speed bumps. Let him out there. Let him take his lumps to understand it. The way the Buffalo Bills did with Josh Allen, the way the Ravens are kind of doing with Lamar Jackson now. Finally, Justin Herbert. It seems to work out. Let him take his lumps and figure it out forward.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it. This answer might be a little long, but I'm going to take my time and go through this. The first point on this, when you talk about Garoppolo and the cost control, the difference between keeping Garoppolo this season or releasing him this season is $1.4 million on your salary cap for next year. Because of the way that his contract is structured, even if you let him go now, you get that extra money that you can roll over. So that gives you $1.4 million more in 2022. If you keep him for 2021 as insurance to let him play, then when he gets into the next season and you cut him, it's only going to be a difference of 1.4 million. So there's or 1.5, I think it is, somewhere in that ballpark. Nick and I were talking about this with a follower on Twitter the other day. So from a cost control standpoint, they've got plenty of money. This really shouldn't be an issue as far as the reason why you do it.
No, it's about the rookie though. The rookie contract, cost control, rookie quarterback. Because you're gonna waste 4 out of one of those 5 years. That's the thing. Not Garoppolo. I don't worry about Garoppolo's contract at that point.
Yeah, but the reason you want that cost control is so that you can build the team around him, right? And that's why you're looking for that money. I mean, that's at least what I think when I hear that. Now, as far as the Garoppolo piece, and I agree with Jose, I tweeted this out, I think, on Monday. The whole deal with Garoppolo is you're not going to get any more for Garoppolo, I think, if you don't trade him before the season. Because once the season starts, you've really got to cross your fingers and hope and pray to gosh that he stays healthy and that he balls out. Because if he doesn't do those two things, you're going to lose whatever money, whatever draft pick you think you're going to get for him. So you've got to. So, I kind of go both ways on this one. From a cost control standpoint, I don't agree with it. But from his trade perspective, I think he's going to get the most that you're going to get the most for him if you get rid of him now.
Okay. Guess I'm up. I don't think there's any reason to rush into this. You don't need to put that pressure on the rookie that he has to start week 1. Not everybody's just going to step on the field and be Justin Herbert, right? You just can't kind of assume that. And Jose, I definitely agree. It's good for the rookie quarterback to go through the ringer and kind of learn from experience, learn from being on the field. And Suneil, I'm going to kind of disagree what you said earlier about this team not being set up for success. Right now, beyond this season, everything's up in question. They brought a lot of free agents back on 1-year deals. So if you look at it, the immediate Super Bowl window is right now. And that's kind of how I'm seeing everything, where aside from Trent Williams and a couple of the other guys, Jaquan Clark, Jason Verrett might have been a 2-year. Verrett was a 2-year deal, but K'Wan Williams. All those guys are just coming back for this season.
Jason Verrett's a 1-year deal.
Oh, okay. So Emmanuel Mosley was a 2-year deal. Yeah. So you have all of these guys that are coming back on a 1-year deal, where anything beyond this season is uncertain as regard as how the roster is going to look. Which is why I think that if you're not wowed by an offer in terms of what you receive for Jimmy Garoppolo, you hold on to him, because right now you have great players on defense. Who knows how it's going to look with DeMeco Ryans and if there's a fall off between him and Robert Saleh, which I'm sure there will be to some degree. And then your offense is looking good. You have a lot in place right now. So I do believe the 49ers could make the playoffs with the rookie. It's going to be extremely hard to get to the Super Bowl, but I would just rather let things play out. Let's see how he looks in comparison to Jimmy Garoppolo, and then start the better quarterback week 1. And who knows, maybe Garoppolo has a solid season, which I'd have no problem with. You're able to get a first round for him in 2022. That's something that I think is on the table. And when John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan say that Jimmy Garoppolo is their guy right now, unless they're wowed by an offer, I'm taking that at face value, because to me, it makes much more sense to keep him on the roster. There's more value having him on the roster this season, then move on from him next year, than getting a 4th or 5th round pick.
This is by far. Yeah, go for it.
Can I respond real quick? So I think, and Nick, I agree with some of what you're saying, but if our best chance is this year with Jimmy Garoppolo, then what did we just trade everything for?
Well,
because the whole point is that this extends our window, and this is going to be the guy that we can move forward with to win the Super Bowl. And I think that in your scenario, it would be harder to attract free agents back if they don't know what the team's going to be like with the rookie versus if they do know this, if this rookie takes us to the playoffs, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's going to be a second year. He's shown the flashes. He could take this team to the playoffs, and more people are going to come because they're going to be like, oh, this is going to be a Super Bowl contending team versus Jimmy G, where they know regardless, he's not going to be a 49er the next season.
Yeah, and this is something that I tweeted out. As far as winning the Super Bowl goes, I think the 49ers have a better shot of winning the Super Bowl this season with Garoppolo opposed to the rookie. But looking at 2022 to 2025, or the remainder of that 5-year rookie contract, definitely the Super Bowl window's a lot larger with that rookie the following 4 years because of what you said. You have all that cap flexibility. You're able to bring in free agents. And I'm a believer that money talks. If you offer a contract to any player that can come into Kyle Shanahan's system, put up numbers, they're going to sign. They're going to have faith that in Shanahan. But just to kind of touch on what you were talking about, this year I think they have a better chance with Garoppolo and a rookie behind him, or even if Garoppolo is his backup. And if the rookie falls and struggles later on and you're in a position to make the playoffs, Garoppolo comes in, whatever the case may be. But definitely beyond this season, you're in a much better place as far as your Super Bowl window goes with that rookie.
Okay, my turn. This is by far the most passionate topic of the afternoon. I didn't expect this to be it, but we found it. This is the most interesting topic right now. What to do with Jimmy and why he's still here. I'm going to answer the question a different way. I think you guys all made really good points. I was just sitting back listening for about 10 minutes, and you guys both made great, all of you. The way I look at it is, yeah, you want that rookie to play. Of course. You traded for him. He should be ready to play. But at the same time, I don't want to anoint him the starting quarterback. I'm with Nick on that. I want him to compete. I don't want to just trade Jimmy Garoppolo on draft day and say, hey, it's your team now, buddy. Because that's what they did with Jimmy, man. That's what they did with Jimmy. It's your team. Don't compete. You're the best. We think you're great. And now go prove us right. Like, have a competition. Let the best man win. If the rookie starts, great. He earned it. He freaking earned it. You don't have to start Jimmy just because you said he would. Just have a competition. Let the rookie earn it. If he doesn't, then play the best quarterback. I think I like that better. Just let the best quarterback win. If Jimmy loses, hey, Jimmy, be a backup and shut up. Don't complain. Don't ask for a trade. We gave you $90 million. Now you need to be this kid's backup and do it with a smile. We like that smile, Jimmy. Show us that smile. Show us that smile. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they should keep Jimmy and let him be a backup if he loses out the job. They could use the cap space, but as Jack Hammer said, they can get that next year. You know, they don't need it right now. So I'm with keeping Jimmy, and if he has to be a backup for a year, hey, he's an experienced backup. He knows how to be a backup. And
Grant, one more just to add on to that. Let's just say his value right now, if he's worth maybe a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, and if he doesn't beat out a rookie, his value then falls to, because I think you'll still get something for him unless you cut him outright. Let's just say it's a 7th-round pick. That's not a huge fall off. Like, it's not the difference between a 4th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. Come on. Like what the 49ers took Joe Williams in the 4th round. You got Richie James in the 7th round, talent level wise. So it's not a huge difference as far as the 4th round pick and the 7th round pick. So just keep them around unless you're wowed by an offer. That's how I see it.
I think there's a lot more issues that could pop up that we're not talking about. Like having Jimmy G as the backup in a locker room where he's taking that team to the Super Bowl is going to be really, really tough on that rookie to be able to get the whole team behind him. And it's just like, it's setting us up for what happened in Philadelphia this season. It's setting us up for a lot of drama that could just implode and ruin a season as well. I really think that, like, my question is, if no matter who the quarterback is, this team is really, really good on the defensive end. And obviously with a lot of these players healthy, the quarterback isn't necessarily going to be the reason why we make it to the Super Bowl, because we have a team that can make it to the playoffs in spite of the best quarterback play. So would you rather have the rookie take this team to the playoffs or Jimmy G take this team to the playoffs? And in my humble opinion, I would rather have the rookie take it, build that confidence, build that continuity so that we have a playoff team and a competing team for the next, 5 years and beyond.
That's fair. But to go back to one of the first things that you mentioned, if the rookie you're bringing in is intimidated because Jimmy Garoppolo's in the same locker room because he took the team to the Super Bowl, then you selected the wrong quarterback. Because I want my quarterback to come in and grab the bull by the horns and say, okay, you're the guy that I'm trying to dethrone. Let's go. Let's get to it. I'm going to take your job right now. I want my quarterback to have that mentality and not be like, oh gosh, the the quarterback that took him to the Super Bowl 2 years ago is still here. That just gives a sense of entitlement. Like, here's the keys to the franchise. You don't really have to work for it. We just have enough faith, and you have to earn it. You have to
Also,
earn
what
it.
if he's not ready? What if he's not ready?
Exactly.
What if you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and you bring in this guy who has a great future, but he's not ready week one, year one?
And
Josh Allen?
That's
not ready. I mean, Josh Allen was brought into a team that was rebuilding with a first-year coach. This team is supposed to be ready to go. So you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, bring in a rookie, and it just turns out that he stinks in camp. And he's not ready.
Is Baker Mayfield better than any of these quarterbacks we're talking about?
I guess we don't really know, right? I guess we don't really know.
My question is, like, Baker Mayfield is now, like, built the team. He's going into his 5th year, and, like, it's a team that's going to be contending for a while. And I think if he sat for a year, he wouldn't have the same continuity. He wouldn't be the same, like, leader of the team and have everybody buying into him and stuff. I find more value in the rookie just starting and building if you already know he's going to be the future, not keeping. And it's not like Jimmy G is a great bridge quarterback. He wants to be a starter. He's somebody that might be already losing the locker room. Some half people like him. It's just, I think it's going to cause a lot of problems that we're not thinking of.
We got to move on. That was a really good discussion. We have hella people leaving donations. We got to hit them. First one, what?
Can I throw just one quick thing in there on that, though? Just all I was going to say about it, this guy, everybody's making really good points, and I kind of agree with it, because the one thing would be just that continuity, and you have Jimmy and just that split locker room, and some of those issues, and I see both sides of this really well.
Okay, well, people are saying debate time. Better male erotic dancer name: Pornstar Jimmy or Jackhammer? I'm going with
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer. Jimmy, get down.
I thought his name was fake when he first hopped on. I was like, is this guy serious?
Hold on. So the next one is Matt from Matt. Who's McCorkle?
That's Mac Jones' name.
That's a bad.
Really?
His middle name.
Yeah.
What?
His middle name's McCorkle.
No way.
It's Michael.
That's why they call him Mac?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha! I love that. If it's McCorkle, put the 23-year-old in. That's why he play now ready. Ceiling, that's not important, right? Dude, McCorkle threw 556 passes in college. Don't expect that McCorkle, he's definitely only being called McCorkle from now on. Don't expect that McCorkle is just going to beat out Jimmy Garoppolo. That may not happen like that.
Hey, Grant, can I add one thing onto this one right here from Matt Flores? So I wrote an article about why maybe this is before the 49ers moved up from 12 to 3. I wrote that maybe the most wise thing for them to do would be to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo before free agency, so you clear up that $25 million and use that money during free agency to add weapons for a rookie, maybe a guy like Curtis Samuel, knowing that Mac Jones could be a guy that starts day one. And that's why I don't think you should move on from Jimmy Garoppolo right now, because the big wave of free agency is already over. Like, what are you going to spend that money on? But that's kind of how it relates.
Priz KO says Niners O-line always built towards run game and below average pass protection. Mac will meet the same fate as Jimmy, Nick, and CJ. Fields is the way to go. There's a point to be made there. Cut the crap. McCorkle is better than Jimmy now. Sark came in and basically ran Kyle's system in Atlanta, then coached up Mac for 2 years. Mac knows the system. Hey, well, let him prove it then.
Coach.
Let him beat out Jimmy then. That's all I'm saying. Let him show it. I'd like to see a legit quarterback competition. I've been to 10 training camps, and the Niners have never had a legit quarterback competition. I think it would be extremely exciting. And, those camp practices used to be open up to the public. You guys can go to those. So hopefully. One more. This is a $20 donation from Family Team TV. Thank you, Family Team TV. Grant, you noted number of attempts in college as being a fair determinant of success in NFL. Well, wouldn't camp reps be roughly as valuable as college game attempts? So a rookie could benefit from sitting behind Jimmy a while? No. Football is the one game where practice and the games are really quite different. You need live action reps, because what these quarterbacks need to learn is how to beat pressure, blitzes, guys in their face. You can't simulate that in non-contact practices. Would you guys agree?
Yep. Camp's too scripted anyways.
If Shanahan is drooling over McCorkle Jones and doesn't see that he needs a mobile quarterback, especially if they keep McFloppy around, he needs to be removed of making personnel decisions ASAP. It's a good point. But what I keep coming back to is, I know you want a type of quarterback. You got to just look for the type of for the quarterback in the draft who won't bust. Because a guy's mobile doesn't mean he's going to necessarily work out. I'm not saying that Fields and Lance are going to bust. I'm just saying some of these guys will. just having mobility doesn't necessarily make you immune from that. You got to look at more than just that. Dude says draft anyone but Mac Jones. Trade Jimmy G for Cam and trade for higher picks. Do you think you could trade Jimmy G for Cam straight up?
No.
Mate, yeah, I think you could.
I don't think the 49ers would want that.
It actually crossed my mind. Definitely benefits the Patriots more than the Niners.
Do you think the Niners could trade Jimmy straight up for Pat McAfee?
No.
No, probably not. All right, last topic, and then I'm going to let everyone go because we're running up on 4 o'clock. We've talked about quarterbacks for an hour. What should be the Niners' focus after the quarterback?
Cornerback. It's going to be stick with the backs and your cornerback is the second focus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with edge rusher. Keep at. Oh, we're kind of in a. Oh, I guess we're just kind of going popcorn style here. Edge rusher. Keep adding to the depth on the defensive line. Get some more speed. If D Ford comes back, you can't really rely on D Ford. He's just going to be a bonus. But in addition to Samson Ebukam, you got to try to find another speed rusher because that's going to make your defense that much better, like we saw in 2019. And I think there's enough on the back. You have to add a corner at some point, but I'd personally like to see them add another speed guy before they address cornerback.
I think they need to get a running back. And I wrote an article, and this is why I believe so. So regardless of who is starting for us, whether it's Jimmy G or a rookie, our running game last year that doesn't get talked about, it was ranked 15. In 2019, when we went to the Super Bowl, it was ranked number 2. Right. And Mostert, Wilson Jr. are great running backs, but if we remember when our running game was ranked number 2, they would come in, or it was Breida back then, but they would come in spots and just like thrive and show. And then when we moved Mostert to the lead back, it imploded because they can't stay healthy. So, I wrote the article that we should go after Najee Harris. This is before, obviously, we traded up to 3, but I think that the 49ers need to put some capital into finding a back that can take 20 to 25 handoffs per game and use Mostert and Wilson Jr. in more of like spot duty, like DH hitters, versus the guys that are taking like all of the reps because they can't stay healthy. And if we don't have a good running game, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They're going to struggle, and it's going to be exactly like what we dealt with last season.
Yeah, I would lean towards corner because I feel like they really need depth there, but I think Kyle's going to lead towards running back. I think he really likes spending big investments on running back. He's like the opposite of his dad in that way. He spent big on McKinnon. He drafted Coleman in the 3rd round. He drafted Joe Williams in the 4th round. It seems like he always has like a big investment running back on his team, and there's not one on the team right now, which makes me feel like round 2 or round 3 it's going to be a running back. I don't know which one, but one of those 2 for sure. They better take a cornerback at some point early, though, because Jason Verrett gets hurt. This team is in trouble. They are one injury away from Jason Verrett from being in deep, deep trouble. So, yeah, they shouldn't wait too long on that cornerback position.
Jimmy G for Stephon Gilmore.
Hey,
yeah, right.
I really enjoyed this show. What
about another area they can look at? Right tackle. They could look at right tackle because I know they just locked up left tackle, and that should be good for the next year or 2 at least. What about right tackle when Mike McGlinchey's option starts coming up soon, and it's really now you got to make next month. So very soon at this case where you got to make a decision whether you pick it up or not, and you got to see if he really is going to anchor it out that next year and see if he improves. But if he doesn't, then now you got to start thinking about we got to invest in the capital again and get that future done. Because now that we got left tackle done, we really have to start worried about how right tackle is going to look like.
Good points, guys. Thanks. This was a great All 49ers roundtable. Suneil, great stuff. Hell of a debut. I enjoyed the discussion we had about the different whether to start Jimmy Garoppolo or get rid of him. That was a topic I think we're going to be talking about a lot more the next few weeks, few months. Before we go, Christian says, if Kyle John missed with a 3rd pick, is their time in SF done? I think we can answer that with one word. Yes. Which is why I think it's so intriguing. They really put all their chips in the middle of the table.
I like it.
They went for
Swing.
it. And which is also why I wonder if Jed York is involved. Like, they really put their careers on the line right here. They got to get this right. I wonder if Jed York made him an ultimatum. I guess we'll never know. Same time next week, we'll be back. Thank you, everyone. Good show, whatnot. Take care. I never know what to say at the end of shows.